I'm saying? I'm testing this out right here. Let me see. Can y'all hear me? That's the question. Yeah, y'all can hear me. Let me turn this up a little bit. Y'all can hear me a little bit better. I gotta get this right. What about now? Let me see how this sounded right here. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2, brother. I like that right there. We can go ahead and take them off right there. All right. All right, so the sound is fine to me. All right, I'm sorry for that beginning. This is my first time doing it this way when it comes to just when I'm reporting the news. I decided I wanted to do it a little differently. So you guys go ahead, bear with me. Anybody who's gonna be in here watching, anyone's gonna be rocking with me, please let me know if the sound is wrong, if the sound stops, anything like that. If I need to be louder. It's my first time. We only gonna get better as time moves forward. I promise that. But you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and rock with me for this one. So we out here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed y'all Mondays, the beginning of the week. You know what I'm saying? We keeping things simple. We keeping things nice. Let me get up here. Let me center. I like to center myself up into the background. Let's see. Okay. So we talking about AB, y'all. AB. First and foremost, let's not jump into it too quick. This past weekend, it was a pretty subpar weekend in my opinion when it comes to boxing. But at the end of the day, it was an enjoyable weekend. I enjoyed the Gervonta Davis versus Gamboa card. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. The Badou Jack versus Gene Pascal fight, in my opinion, was the fight of the night. I felt like both of those guys went out there and they gave it their all. Not only that, it was very competitive. Me personally, I had Badou Jack winning, but I feel like neither of them came out as losers in that fight. Some may say so, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think both of them, for the most part, are out of their prime. So I feel like just to be able to give a performance like that, I think you got to give hats off to them. So it was a performance of the night. So I thought it was a pretty good card from Showtime. Obviously, only 2 fights. The undercard was all right, but you know, there's a lot of questions floating around when it comes to Showtime, because people are wondering if they're going to do the HBO on us, right? We don't know, but as of now, let's appreciate them while they're still here. It was a good card. So let's go ahead and let's start talking about the topic. It's Adrien Broner, yo. That's the first thing we're gonna get into. Now, for me, Adrien Broner, man, he touches a very at least when it comes to the boxing world, I'm a big fan of Adrien Broner. I'm gonna be real with you. I was rocking with him for since day one, you know what I'm saying? And me personally, I always believe Adrien Broner to be a lot better than what people try to perceive him as. I feel like people try to downplay how good he is because of his outside shenanigans, you know what I'm saying? And for the most part, obviously he's gotten into a lot of trouble that hasn't been warranted. He's made news for shit he should have never did. But if we're just gonna judge him strictly off of what he's done in the ring, I feel like you have to respect him for that. The only losses he has in his career is against Hall of Fame fighters. So, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you want to be realistic, Adrien Broner is I think he's a future Hall of Famer. That's my opinion. So I'm gonna let y'all know that. But what we talking about is Adrien Broner. He said he might come back next year. If y'all check the feed, I posted this article probably a couple days ago. Adrien Broner said he retired from the sport of boxing. How long has it been, since he said that? It hasn't been that long, because it definitely hasn't been a year. But he said he retired. It was after the Manny Pacquiao loss. The thing about the Manny Pacquiao loss, especially when it comes to a lot of Adrien Broner fans, it's hard to watch because we know what he's capable of, and we know he was in great shape. He trained hard. I was able to tell, but it's like he's gotten to a certain point now where he's kind of stuck in his habits, and it sucks to say that about Adrien Broner because he's still young. A lot of people kind of chalk him up there as, kind of he's a has-been and he's done, but a lot of people don't realize he's still young. And you know what I'm saying? I think he's barely 30 right now. You know what I'm saying? He was in the game early. He was one of the youngest guys to ever even be able to he win 3 belts in 3 different weight divisions, but people don't talk about it because it happened so early. I think it was 4 belts actually. Excuse me. So Adrien Broner is still young. It's just it seems like he's a little bit stuck in his ways when it comes to actually performing at the potential he should. And that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's no disrespect in any type of way. But let's go ahead and get to this article right here. It's coming from BoxingNews24.com. Shout out to Boxing News 24 as always. I'm gonna go ahead and get down to the meat of the article. I like to do that. I don't really like to, So Broner's saying there's money for him in 2020. I might come back next year. They say they're going to pay me more. He was talking to Fight Hype. They say they got some more money for me next year, said Broner. So let's see if he's actually being real about that, because here in the article he's saying Adrien would be a good B-side opponent, but in reality, is he really a B-side? Some would argue Adrien Broner is still probably, when it comes to popularity, I'm not talking about skill, but popularity, still top 3. If you're talking about PBC welterweight, that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? If y'all don't agree with me, go ahead and let me know in the chat if y'all disagree with me. And if y'all don't believe me, let's go ahead. Let's switch over to the welterweight rankings. How about that? So you got the WBO welterweight rankings. You got Terence Crawford at number 1. Under him, you got Danny Garcia, and obviously you got Lipinets. You got the young gun Ortiz Jr. Goes on to 4 with Shonina, and then you got in 5 in Zuski. Okay. We go to the IBF welterweight rankings. Okay. You got Errol Spence obviously as a champ. Under him, you got hopefully I say the name right, Abubakar Horav. 2 is vacant. Then you got Lipinets again. Then you got Abaro, Clayton, etc., etc. Let's look at the WBC welterweight rankings. That's Spence, of course, as the belt holder. This is probably the most top heavy when it comes to the welterweight rankings for a belt, in my opinion. You got Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Ugas, then you got Abdulkarov, and then you got Avanesyan, and then Lopez, Lipinets, Khan, Ortiz Jr., Hooker. So that one's heavy. You see, you got the young gun and Kelly down there at 14. Then you got the WBA welterweight. That's Manny Pacquiao, Ugas, Danny Garcia. Mikey Garcia's in that one. So that's where you see Mikey, and there goes Kelly again. So you see those, the welterweight rankings. You see that, right? So to only, in my opinion, I wouldn't say top 10 contenders. I would say probably top 5 contenders. He would be a B-side too. But I think Adrien Broner is still an A-side to a lot of those fights you see there. Not only that, there's a lot of, obviously he's going to come back for the money, but there's a lot of people he can fight. He's just, I said he was coming off that, he retired after the Pacquiao fight. He retired after the Vargas fight, he had that draw. Obviously Vargas is coming back. He's going to fight Mikey Garcia. Adrien Broner is still a PBC fighter. That's the thing that's interesting to me, because when you look up fighters in PBC, Adrien Broner is still there. So obviously Adrien Broner is still a PBC fighter, 33-4-1, 24 KOs. There you go, age 30. So obviously he's going to have the best pickings when it comes to who he wants to fight next, because PBC has all the guys when it comes to welterweight. I can see Adrien Broner against Danny Garcia. Because the thing about Adrien Broner is he's at the point now where he doesn't care really necessarily about his record anymore. So he'll fight anybody. And there's a lot of guys when it comes to the WBC, PBC class. Excuse me, I said WBC, but when it comes to the PBC welterweights, I feel like there's a lot of guys he can fight who aren't necessarily looking for the hardest fight because they want to keep their record. And some of those guys, you know what I'm saying? Ugas, I want to say that, but Ugas versus Adrien Broner would be a great fight. Danny Garcia versus Adrien Broner would be a great fight. I would even be willing to see Sean Porter versus Adrien Broner too. If y'all remember in the first fight, Adrien Broner knocked Sean Porter down in like the last round. He was getting outclassed most of that fight, but first time Sean Porter ever touched the canvas. And like Adrien Broner is one of those guys, in my opinion too. Maybe we can possibly see him versus Crawford, but it seems like Crawford, I don't know what's going on with Crawford when it comes to that. So we got Adrien Broner possibly coming back next year, and there's a lot of fights that we can see from him. How do y'all feel about that? You already know. I'm sitting here talking a lot. Yeah, let me know what you guys feel about Adrien Broner coming back. Who y'all want to see him fight next? Me personally, I would like to see Adrien Broner versus Danny Garcia, or Adrien Broner versus Sean Porter too. Because honestly, there's not a lot of people Sean Porter has left to fight right now. Sean Porter's really fought everybody. So Sean Porter Sean Porter versus Adrien Broner 2, that would be a great fight. And then, Danny Garcia versus Adrien Broner, that'd be a good fight too, in my opinion. So, but how you guys feel about him coming back, man? Let me know what y'all think. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. We're talking about Gamboa. So earlier I was saying that, in my opinion, it was just kind of it's been a slow week in boxing. The weekend when it came to boxing events, we had Gamboa versus Davis, obviously. Me personally, the card was better than I expected. I enjoyed it. I already said I had Badu Jack versus Gene Pascal as the fight of the night. But the Gamboa versus Gervonta Davis fight, this actually ended up being a lot better than I expected to be as well. Because the way it started off, it almost looked like, if you guys were watching it, it almost looked like it was going to end early. It really looked that way. But right after the second round, at least from what the translation was saying, how they were translating, they were saying that basically he was going to quit, or that the trainer was going to call it or somewhat. But they didn't end up stopping it. He ended up going all the way to the 12th round, got knocked out. At first, the announcers were trying to make it seem like it was a shoe issue, that maybe he had ripped his shoe or something like that. But when you seen him moving and the way he was fighting, it was obvious he did not rip his shoe. There was something else going on, because every time he tried to explode, it was hard for him to explode. So after it was reported that he tore his Achilles, where Gamboa confirmed it himself, he tore his Achilles tendon in the second round against Gervonta Davis. Look, that is crazy to me. And he went on to fight for 10 more rounds. Great chance to even survive. You know what I'm saying? That the ref called it. Yeah, it did. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a good stoppage, but we've seen fights where a ref had, you know what I'm saying, they'll let the fighter continue to fight. So the fact that he tore his Achilles in the second round and he was still able to continue for 10 more rounds, man, that's crazy. The fact that this isn't even giving more press is crazy to me, because I'm like Kobe, he tore his Achilles and he came out, he shot a free throw and people went crazy. This man boxed 10 more rounds. At the same time, this is an Achilles tendon, you know what I'm saying? We don't know how deep the tear was, but he said he indeed suffered a torn right Achilles. That's what it's saying. Although Gamboa is saying he tore his Achilles, he didn't post the doctor's notes from medical staff to verify the authenticity of his injury claims. Does he have to post the doctor's note? What y'all think about that? I guess some people are thinking that he didn't do that, because it is hard to believe he was able to go 10 more rounds with a torn Achilles. This is from Gamboa himself. This is Twitter. Just to set the record straight, I knew I had snapped my tendon in the second round, but I instructed my corner to take my ankle so I can continue. I refused to quit and wanted to keep fighting through my injury. My corner followed my wishes. Heart of a lion. He obviously has some type of injury. I know for a fact it was some type of injury. A torn Achilles, that'd be crazy to be able to fight through that 10 more rounds. That's crazy. As you know too, he won a rematch too. Gamboa, he's calling for a rematch. He's saying the only reason he lost is because of that torn Achilles. Some could argue maybe that's true. That was Davis is one of his toughest fights yet. Will people be interested in the rematch though? That's the question. That's the question, to be honest with you. But we're gonna move on from that. Shout out to Gamboa, man. I feel like that should get a lot more press. Everybody went crazy when Kobe Bryant he tore his Achilles and he came out and he shot a free throw. Oh man, how could you do that, man? Gamboa, he fought 10 more rounds with another man trying to kill him. This is according to him, with a torn Achilles. That's crazy. I don't even know if that's possible. God damn. Man, adrenaline is crazy, man. Oh, y'all see that, right? Hearn wants Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora on March 7th. I'm going to open that up in a new tab because I ain't seen that. I'm going to see how Yeah, he tore Achilles tendon. But let's stay on topic. As y'all can see from this article I'm on BoxingNews24.com still, Terence Crawford warns Gervonta Davis, stay away from Lomachenko and Haney. In the title, you can see that I'm talking about a beef between Terence Crawford. What's the beef coming from? This is where the beef all came from. Apparently, Terence Crawford felt like he didn't do a very... okay, let's say this. He felt like Gervonta Davis looked subpar against Gamboa, in a sense. That's what Crawford felt like. Crawford has room to say this, though, because as everyone knows, Crawford came when Gamboa was in his prime, when everybody thought Gamboa was going to be the next big thing. Had everybody promoting him, 50, everybody, man. Everyone thought he was going to be the superstar of boxing, and Crawford came in, and he deaded all that. 8th round, knockout. So I think Crawford has every right to put his 2 pieces in. You know what I'm saying? There go the tweet right there. Stay away from Vasil Lomachenko and real Devin Haney. Interesting that he put Devin Haney. A lot of people don't think Gervonta Davis would lose against Devin Haney. Let me say that. A lot of people think Devin Haney could beat Gervonta Davis. Switch that up. I said that wrong. A lot of people feel like Gervonta Davis could beat Devin Haney. Me personally, I feel like Devin Haney could beat Gervonta. Lomachenko would, at this point right now, would destroy Gervonta. You see, though, Davis hasn't talked about Tevin Farmer in a minute. Remember, Tevin Farmer and Gervonta Davis, they've had a beef stemming back since I don't know when. Eddie Hearn said himself that he's offered the money team, Gervonta Davis's team, a deal for the Tevin Farmer versus Gervonta Davis fight multiple times. Big money, too, from what Eddie Hearn says. And it's hard for me not to believe Eddie Hearn, because if you look at Eddie Hearn's track money, man, track record, he be throwing money around like it ain't nothing. So how you not gonna believe that man? You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how now everyone's just kind of talking about Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, and Tevin Farmer's totally out of the picture. When, in my opinion, Tevin Farmer, he's probably the only person I see Tevin Farmer having any trouble with out of all them right there would be Devin Haney. That's it. A lot of y'all probably think I'm crazy. Farmer would destroy Lomachenko. Yeah, I'm going to talk my shit about that. That's a fact. So y'all can feel however you want about that. But you see, Tank Davis came back quick with it, though. Is what Gervonta said. The Godfather's the same guy that hurt him. Said Davis firing back at Crawford, reminding boxing fans that Gamboa hurt him in their fight. And he got touched up in his last fight. You know, some say it was a knockdown, others say it wasn't. Garcia has something to say. David tired Gamboa, so that's not what it's about. But you know, I feel like he has every right to say a little bit of something about it. He fought him himself, and if that's how he feels about it, then that's how he feels about it. If y'all disagree with him, you know, Crawford he did get a little dazed from Gamboa when he fought him. Remember, Gamboa, though, he was in his prime. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it, though, and everyone has to factor in the fact that what I just talked about, Gamboa had a torn Achilles. So at the same time, I would like to see a rematch against Gamboa versus Davis. Because I don't see Davis is saying he's ready for the big names. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's articles saying that he's ready to fight the big names. He wants the biggest name next, this, and that. But I'm like, I feel like he's been saying that for a minute. It's not up to him. So I think in my opinion, the best option would be for him to fight Gamboa again to really see what happened. But, you know what I'm saying? How long is it going to take for Gamboa to come back from a torn Achilles at his age? So that's probably out the window anyway. So let's be realistic. And that's the realistic view when it comes to that. Okay, so this was just posted. All right, so this is some breaking news, man. So if y'all been here with me, y'all got some breaking news, man. This coming from BoxingNews24.com, man. They always come with the real shit, man. Shout out to them. Hearn wants Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora on March 7th in Manchester. Now, remember, if y'all seen the videos, I released them way back when. I talked about how Usyk versus Derek Chisora was expected to happen in February. That same time, Kubrat Pulev versus Adam Kamanaki was supposed to happen in February as well. I was like, damn, it's going to be like a mini heavyweight tournament. But I think that was reported and projected to happen because I think a lot of people didn't expect AJ to beat Ruiz. So now that AJ beat Ruiz, there was a prediction that that AJ would end up dropping one of his belts, right? Let me move that out the way. But But there was a prediction that AJ was going to drop one of his belts once he does that, because he wouldn't want to fight both of his mandatories, because his mandatories would be Alexander Usyk and it would be Kubrat Pulev. After he won, Eddie Hearn stated that, okay, he's going to fight both of them, right? That's what he said. But the thing about that is, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to saying who a fighter's going to fight, promoters, fighters, whoever it may be, that's how it usually goes down, right? They talk about anyone and anybody because you got to make headlines, keep your fighter consistent, and make everybody hopeful, because it makes everyone excited for the next fight, even if it's not the fighter that they're talking about fighting. That's just how the game goes. So when he said that, I didn't really believe it. Now there's reports that AJ's going to drop one, if not one, both his belts, because they feel like the WBO and the IBF are taking too long telling them when he has to fight his mandatory. They stated he has to fight both his mandatories next year, but they haven't told him when. I think it's all bullshit. I think from day one they were planning on dropping at least one of them. Here it goes right here. I'm happy I didn't have to find that shit, because there was a lot of dumbass pop-ups on this site. That's the only thing I don't like. I gotta get my blocker up. So here we go. What if Anthony Joshua vacates both belts, right? This is coming from Eddie Hearn. So, and this is interesting because, okay, let me just read this real quick. This is by Tim Ronyer. Eddie Hearn is frustrated that the IBF and WBO failing to decide which of their mandatory challengers would go first in 2020 in challenging heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. I think that's an interesting statement if that is as true as it is stated, that Eddie Hearn is frustrated, because it was only about a month back that he was saying he would fight both. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Hearn thinks it might be better for Joshua to just vacate his IBF and WBO and hold on to the WBA strap. And the reason why he's suggesting this, not only was this already previously predicted from a lot of sources, including Boxing News, because that's where I got one of the sources when I talked about it. At the one moment, everyone thought it was going to be one, but now he's saying both, is because he wants to have all the control at this point. They've already going through a fluke. They can't afford another one. Fighting the Usyk and Pulev in the same year, no matter if people want to talk about Pulev is old or Usyk is a cruiserweight coming up to heavyweight, those are tough fights. And those are probably fights you want to kind of space out. You don't want to fight them in the same year. You want to fight them in different years. If he only has a WBA strap, not only will he have to, he doesn't have to fight the mandatory in the WBA. I don't even know who's the mandatory in his WBA. I could look that up, but I'm not really even worried about it, because there's a reason why he's choosing to drop the IBF and WBO. And these fights will probably end up happening. And there's a reason why Hearn wants Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora on March 7th in Manchester, because they're going to drop that belt. They're going to drop the WBO, and they're going to make Usyk versus Derek Chisora for the WBO title. Remember, I stated it here. I said it here. All right, and the IBF, if he drops the IBF title, you're going to see Pulev versus Adam Kamanaki, probably in February or March. But I do believe it's going to happen. And you guys got to remember this too. If he just has the WBA, I'm like, think about this. You got guys like Klitschko talking about he might come back next year. Joshua could fight once or twice next year, and then wait for that either Wilder or Fury fight in 2021, because that's what this is all about now. They're not going to make any more mistakes. They want that Wilder or Fury fight. So you go ahead, you watch out. Wilder versus Fury plays out. Maybe in the meantime, you can either fight your WBA mandatory, or maybe like a Joseph Parker 2 again, something along those lines, and then, or even not that, maybe even a Klitschko fight, because he'll beat Klitschko again, and then the year after he'll be in position to fight whoever won that Fury Wilder fight. You got the biggest fight between heavyweights in the world. If you want to talk about money being made, so that's my opinion. How it's probably going to play out, but you guys heard it here first. Chisora versus Usyk is targeted for March 7th in the Manchester Arena. So that means Anthony Joshua most likely was going to drop that WBO belt. There it is, y'all. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end. I'm about to wrap this thing up. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. Through this, we're gonna do some more of these, man, in the future, but this is the last little thing. Dana White clarifies that Mayweather fighting is part of the plan. So me personally, when I heard about Floyd Mayweather coming back, I thought it was going to be just business co-promotions between TMT and the UFC, because you haven't seen the UFC do a co-promotion with a boxing, at least a heavy boxing corporation. So I thought that was what's going to happen, but apparently, according to the UFC president, it's come from BoxingScene.com. His plan is to collaborate with Floyd Mayweather. It will involve the boxer competing in the ring. We'll see how true that is. I don't know how true that's going to be. But apparently that's what he said. Who did he say this to, though? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how much I believe this. I think they might be putting together this. Hold on, this is coming from BoxingScene.com. I'm gonna let y'all know right here. I don't know how much I trust this article right here. I still believe the same way I believe. I don't think it has nothing to do with him being in the ring. I think it's gonna be business. This is from December 30th. This is reported today. So you know what I'm saying. Y'all go ahead and choose who y'all want to believe, but hey. Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. Appreciate y'all for being up in here, man. Expect a lot more of this type of content to be coming out. Make sure you rock with us with the live streams. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Y'all, if y'all in here right now, man, before I even leave, man. If y'all in here, y'all didn't drop a like, man. Come on now. Go ahead and drop a like, man. First time I'm trying to try out everything, man. I thought it went pretty smooth. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, drop a like, subscribe, all that. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all check out our SoundCloud/BlakGooseTV. And keep supporting the content, man. As always, man.